With just one glance at the boy, the professor could tell that Martin was a psychopath. He immediately went to the principal, explaining that healthy children should show excitement when seeing girls and disgust when witnessing male abuse. But Martin displayed exactly the opposite reactions. He showed revulsion toward girls while his eyes lit up with excitement when watching men being tortured. Carl then asked the school if there had been any recent disappearances. Sure enough, they discovered that a sophomore girl had mysteriously vanished a month earlier. Carl's suspicions were confirmed, and he immediately began tracking Martin. That very night, Martin met up with a girl, and just as Carl had predicted, he led her away from the restaurant. But the alert Martin noticed he was being followed. He walked right up to Carl and provocatively declared that the girl was perfectly safe. So Carl and his assistant posed as scholarship committee members and visited Martin's home, hoping to learn about Martin's childhood from his mother. But Martin returned home just in time and angrily threw them out. However, Carl still managed to catch a glimpse of fear in the mother's eyes. She seemed genuinely afraid of her own son, and he secretly took a videotape of Martin's childhood with him. Martin had a sister, but there wasn't a single photograph of her anywhere in the house. Investigation revealed that his sister had drowned while swimming when she was 7 years old, and Martin had witnessed the entire incident. Yet his mother claimed her son had a happy childhood, which clearly didn't add up. Just then, the police brought news that the girl who had disappeared 2 days earlier had successfully escaped. Carl and his assistant went to the girl's hospital room and showed her Martin's photograph, asking if he was her captor. The girl silently turned away. For Carl, this reaction was as good as a confession. The assistant, as a fellow woman, spoke to the girl with genuine emotion and finally broke through her psychological barriers. The girl revealed the horrifying truth. Martin had repeatedly drowned her and then revived her, making her die 3 times. The police arrested Martin, but because the girl had a history of depression, her testimony couldn't be used as evidence. Carl understood that Martin had specifically chosen this girl because of her vulnerability. During the interrogation, Carl taunted Martin about his relationship with Helen, suggesting that the dominant Helen was just using him as a plaything and would discard him when she got bored. The normally composed Martin was finally completely enraged. But without concrete evidence, Martin was soon released. Carl approached Martin's mother once again. When he mentioned her dead daughter, the mother's uncontrollable tears revealed everything. Later, Helen arranged to meet Martin and broke up with him. Martin angrily tried to grab her, but after being rejected, he had no choice but to leave. However, this was all part of Carl's carefully orchestrated plan. Carl had deliberately made Helen a target for Martin's revenge, hoping to expose Martin's psychopathic nature. That evening, Helen went home alone while police secretly monitored and protected her. But Martin's real target turned out to be Carl, who had been relentlessly pursuing him. Martin kidnapped Carl and brought him to a secret chamber, where he began to savor the thrill of being the hunter. He continuously poured water over Carl's covered face. This cruel form of water torture gave him endless pleasure. After he'd had enough fun, Martin prepared to bury Carl alive, making him dig his own grave while listening to his approaching death sentence. Martin even thoughtfully informed Carl that Helen would be his next target and that he'd bury her right beside him.